Welcome back to another episode of Loud and Proud Orlando, my friends. My name is Paola. I'm gonna be your host for tonight, and we have a lot of off-season news and rumors that they're coming your way. But first, let's start by greeting my co-host, John and Luis. Luis, how are you today?
No, doing great, Paola. Thank you so much. A lot of putting. I don't know if I'm a little upset, because I just feel like the league is being downplayed, and it's just it's a lot of stuff, a lot of bluff, a lot of fluff coming in. When you don't see LPO posting something, it's probably because it's not going to be true. But
Exactly.
again, we'll dissect in all of that. Excited about the money that's coming in for the we'll talk about the stadium too. So, but just happy to be here. Another week of LPO. So I'm definitely happy.
Awesome, awesome. John, how are you, my friend?
Good. I saw you almost said Terracina there, Paula. You were like, "Welcome back to." No, wait, no, hold on.
This is not my pot. I'm just kidding.
I know you're like, wait a minute. I'm hosting LPO now. I'm gonna say the right name here. So, yeah, excited to be back and talking to you guys about a busy week of news. Lots of stuff happening. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. And talking about off season, we're going into a season game this upcoming Saturday, my friend. So if you wanna, calm your hopes to see Orlando City, you don't have to wait until February 24th. Just go um celebrate with Orlando upcoming game against Flamengo, a Brazilian team in our stadium at 2 p.m. Okay, it's this next Saturday. So let's jump to the news because this is hot out of the press since last week. I wanted to talk to it. So let's talk about our new name of the stadium, Inter&Co Stadium. How do we feel about that? But not let me add this to our topic. So Orlando City secured a long-term contract with Inter&Co company, naming rights for 10 years. So no more Exploria Stadium, Inter&Co Stadium. I know that we have to say a lot because of the name, but there's some good news here. Not just the stadium name. We're gonna get some upgrades throughout the season and throughout the stadium. And those upgrades are a 5 million new LED pixels, a new state-of-art video board, a new fascia LED throughout the bowl, a new wall in the West Club. So my friends in the West Club, you're gonna have a big wall of screens, new screens, no bit little TVs out there. A big wall of LED walls for you to see the game, and new monitors throughout the suites and premium spaces. So, what y'all think about this Inter&Co Stadium name?
I mean, look, to me, I feel like this is I mean, it's a deal worth $55 million. I mean, there are worse stadium names that you could definitely pick. To keep it short, Middelfart Stadium in Middelfart, Denmark. You know, 4,000 spectators. They are actually an actual name for a specific stadium. So you can Google it, Middelfart Stadium. It is true. It exists in Denmark. So there are worse things. I just feel like it's a win-win. I mean, I understand the name Inter, but you also have to see it outside the box. I mean, it is a company that it's a pioneer in a different region, and Orlando is one of the first cities that they're looking for to expand. So it is good for all parties. $55 million later in the pocket, all the new things that they're going to add to the stadium and the experience for the fans. I think that's what's most important. Plus, I feel like what really matters, at least to me, is winning stuff. So, making sure that we're making playoffs, making sure that we're making the right signings, making sure that we are actually winning cups, right? So, who cares about I'm sure Barcelona doesn't mind Spotify Stadium, right? So, it's part of the game. I guess we're growing a little bigger. Our fan base is growing tremendously, so it is bound for this move to happen, right, John?
Yeah, I obviously the name is unfortunate.
Yeah,
Nobody wants that, but they, you know, the ownership and the executive board and everybody who works on this decision, mainly Jared Dillon, probably is the main guy working on this deal. I think they obviously assess the deal versus the name of the stadium, and if it was a crap deal, I would be the first person to be like, this is a terrible name for a terrible deal.
right, for sure.
What are you doing? And I think that we waited to see what it was, the actual announcement. Like, obviously, it got leaked beforehand, so people were getting upset before they had all the information. And then when the information came out, I was like, this is the best deal we've ever had, by the way. And it's a 10-year deal, which is a great amount of income for the club to have. The club has always thought that they could get more for the stadium naming rights. Like, we've always been underselling it. Like, Exploria was not a very good deal. This puts us in one of the best deals, well, not the best, but it's up there for our market for sure. Like, we're way better off than we were before. So not only that, all of the additional added, technology that Paula talked about, they're going to bring concerts to the stadium. They're going to obviously have the financial partnership there, being able to use like rewards and things with their app, which is their main business. But they also have, connections with soccer clubs down in South America. Like they are, they work with Paranese and they work with Letco Minero. So there's connections there that maybe we could use, to connect with other clubs and bring players. Like, that's even a possibility with a partnership like this. And they're talking about it like it's a lot more than just a stadium naming rights deal, which when you read through all the article and everything it tells you, it's clear to me that it is not just with slapping a name on the building. They're going to do a lot of things for us, and hopefully we're going to get a lot out of this partnership. 5 years from now, we might be like, hey, we're not loving the deal so much, but obviously I think right now it looks really good. So 10 years is a long time, and I'm really happy with that amount of money. So for me, it just negates the issue with the name. Like, yes, it sucks, but we didn't put Miami on the side of the building, and they don't own the word Inter. So let's just go from there.
Right.
Exactly. They had me with the 5G antenna new enhancement. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
sold.
Yeah, that's gonna
Don't
make our
take
life
it.
much easier.
And that's it. That's the point I forgot to say, is that I think a lot of fans are not going to, A, use the name because they didn't use the old name, and B, they're not going to care when they're enjoying all these new amenities what the name on the building is.
To be honest, I never said, "Oh, it's in the Exploria Stadium." The game. I always said
We never
Orlando City Stadium.
I just feel like we're going to the game at the stadium, the City Stadium.
Exactly. Downtown. There you go.
Yeah, there's only, like, it's not like we have multiple. It's either there or the Amway. You can't get that lost.
And to be honest, I don't like what did Exploria did for us. Just put timeshare booth around the stadium and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be doing this thing called the Terrace in Section 1, which is a whole new hospitality area. So that's exciting. Like, we're getting a whole new zone of the stadium. It's just a lot more than a name, clearly. And it's a very good deal with all this stuff on top of it.
Yeah, plus, I mean, they're gonna set they're gonna open up a new market here, and I mean, we're the first city that they're in. It's a super app. A super app is what's in all over the world right now. Not so much in the United States, but it is all over the world, like in China, in Thailand, in different areas far east. Saudi Arabia, and they're bringing a super app to the City Beautiful. And not only is banking, it's all kinds of stuff they're bringing. They did it in Brazil, one of the biggest populations in South America. I'm sure they'll be able to make an impact here in Orlando. And that's probably what they want. So it's a win-win for them. They win name recognition across the globe, and they set the seeds for what they want to do here in the United States. So I mean, we're the first ones they're investing on. So I mean, a lot of big changes are coming. So I think it's a win-win. Yes, I do agree with John. I do agree with Paul. I mean, the name is really now with the Inter, but you got Inter Milan, you got all kinds of inter names. It's just Inter&Co Stadium. Inter&Co Stadium. It just sounds like cool, Inter&Co. Inter&Co Stadium. You gotta say it fast. Inter&Co, right? Inter&Co Stadium.
It's
There you go.
Co. It's the Co
and and
Stadium.
and they
The
don't
Co.
only support football, soccer. They do. I do play other sports, and I have seen them in the beach tennis tournaments too, sponsoring us, and it's a small community of that sport. So kudos for them. Let's see what the future holds for us. But I'm kind of excited for all the enhancement. I'm just gonna ignore it. If it bugs you, just ignore it. You don't have to look at the name. Just say Orlando City Stadium. So before we go to our next topic, let's read some comments really quickly because I see some popping in. I don't want
Okay.
to miss anything on. So you want to read it, Luis, or
Yeah, sure. Nijay Thompson. Imagine your knickers getting in a twist because the ground is sponsored by a company named similarly to an Italian football club. Pathetic in my eyes. People need to grow up. JCB's 95. Buenas noches, everyone. I'm glad to see the investment into the stadium. The name doesn't bother me. And at the end of the day, OC will always be OC. I agree with you.
touche?
The bigger we get, the funnier names we're gonna be getting. Trust me, because right, Bus L, yeah, it's Spotify Stadium, not Real Spotify Stadium. There you go.
Thank you, my friends. Let's go to our next topic that has been like I have been in Twitter every single day to see if this is sealed or not. But Orlando City, last week we talked about David Brecalo, and they rejected our bid. Like Viking FK, they rejected a bid around $2 million for this international center back, and we went back again and put another bid to see. Like I think that's the final bid from us, right? So that's the sources, right? Those our sources tell us that they're ongoing talks to get the center back, to see if our last bid is accepted. What do you guys think about this?
John, want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think we're just, we're playing chicken with David Ricardo and Viking, right? It's just who I think they are obviously he's their star player. They like we said, they want a lot of money for him, but we've heard lots of reports that he's very keen to come. So it's basically who breaks, right? Does it get to the point where they reject our, I think this could be the last bid. It depends on whether they think they want to go higher if they reject this again, or whether we want to say, okay, that's our last and final offer. And if they still don't take this, maybe we'll just walk away and say, okay, it's not worth it, that much TAM for us to throw it at this guy. But from what I can tell, from what we've seen, he looks like, the real deal at the center back role for us and what we would need. So I say if we got to throw a little bit more money at him, like we've got a lot of that flexibility right now, from, moving players around and having sales. So if we need to be a little bit more investing in that center back role, that's the biggest gap. Like we could go into this season with most of our other positions, maybe not left back. That could be an issue, but most of the squad is here, right? So apart from this center back piece, which is a massive part of what we need to do next year, if we need to throw a little bit more money at him, I say do it. It's hard to say whether this is the final offer or not. I don't know.
Look, I think he would be a great pickup. I think he'll match very well with our back line, with Robin Jansen. I mean, if you guys have seen the video that we put out in our Twitter, he speaks perfect English, easy assimilation. Wants to come here, wants to be in the MLS, and he's a star in his club. He's one of the best players in Viking. They made a song for him. He has like 2 songs apparently. He's like a big name. So it kind of makes sense why they're playing that game of pulling out and saying, hey, we want more money. He's worth more. Even though Viking hasn't really won silverware, but he is one of their top players. So hopefully we get that depth down at center back. I think Robin does need a partner like when Antonio first came into the team, makes an immediate impact. So I'm happy that at least is David Brecalo, the Scandinavian king, apparently. This is what he's called.
I have a feeling that it went through. Because if it didn't, news already break out. But don't quote me, right? I could be wrong. That's my
I
gut feeling.
I thought the same thing. I thought like I don't know. I feel like later this week we could be hearing some good news about David.
Some
I
good
just
news, right?
sometimes when it's back and forth like this, and then there's just a little bit of a gap, it's like, okay, either it's done and it's gone, or it's happening and they're just like waiting a little bit to do paperwork and everything.
Sometimes no news is good news. Let's say it like that. Let's see. So our next topic is it's not my favorites because I'm scared about this, but our MLS referees, our pros referees, are authorized for a potential strike, file labor complaint as work stoppage. There's an article per Athletic saying that the Professional Soccer Referees Association could be represented professional referees in North America and Canada has voted to authorize a potential strike amid ongoing negotiations for the pro over a new CBA, according to multiple sources brief on the matter. So this means that the vote amongst the union membership, which was anonymous, set the stage for a potential MLS need replacement of referees this season, 2024. So the season started on February 21st. Um, Inter Miami take Real Salt Lake. What do you guys think? Are we gonna have pro referees this season? Are they gonna make their way in? I don't know. I'm a little bit scared. What do you think about this, Luis?
Look, in good Orlando fashion, the wrath belongs on OBT, right? Uh, you know, um, look, I think they're entitled to fight for their rights for sure. But I also think that they need to look into themselves and see fix their problems on their own. They have a lot of issues. They There's a lot of issues specifically happening, so many mistakes happening every single match that they referee. It's outstanding, and I'm still stand behind by I stand behind by my stance. These people cannot referee a World Cup, and I think that's why they want to pull the plug on them, because they are very they don't they don't have any good calls. And we'll see how this plays out. I think FIFA is going to help the MLS to maybe find a suitable replacement for pro. I'm sure, but I really don't really care what happens to them, to be honest with you. That's just my take on it. I don't know what John thinks.
Well, I think that, I want to have the season go regardless. So I don't want this to like become an issue that delays the season. Like we've seen that in other American sports, right? Like delays to the basketball season or etc. So I don't want that to happen for one, but maybe if they don't come to an agreement and they're like, okay, we're not going to use pro, maybe then the league goes, okay, we're going to hire a bunch of European referees to come over and just work like, because pro, I believe, is its own organization, and like it's its own company here in the U.S. that runs these referees. So it's kind of different from other like nations. Like a lot of other nations, they're just run by FIFA. It's not like they're their own company. So it could be that MLS, if they don't work it out, like but either way, MLS is going to have to pay more money if they do that, right? So if pro is like, we are not being paid enough, you need to pay us more. In some ways, I would be like, well, how much does it cost to go get your equivalent from Europe, who's going to be better, honestly? Like, not to crap on the American referees, but they're just not, the standard here is not good. So maybe that's a good solution for MLS is
Yeah.
to go outsource it. And when like I want to support American referees, of course, but honestly, like you said, Louise, that it's clearly broken and it doesn't seem to be getting better. And we've heard reports in the past of like Pro are working with referees from Europe and from South America to improve their like standards, et cetera, but we just don't see it, honestly. Like the video referee work got worse somehow
Yeah,
over the time that we've had it.
a
So
changes.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think Pro are particularly good. I'll say that.
A change is going to improve the play, and it's going to improve the league in itself. It's essentially grabbing the bull by the horns by the MLS, saying, "Hey, you know what? Look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get European referees for certain regions in the United States. I'm going to get Spanish referees from certain regions for the U.S. In Miami, can get referees from Argentina that want to leave the country. I'll go and get some of them. I mean, these are like, well-known referees that have had, Copa Libertadores, Sudamericana games, and they're definitely able to, referee MLS or Leagues Cup matches. You know what I mean? So
But see,
I think
Pro is funded
they don't
by
want to do
MLS.
anything. They don't
That's
want to
the thing.
improve.
The Pro is funded by MLS.
Yeah,
so
they need to unfund
the
that.
PSRA, which is obviously the Referees Association, is disagreeing with Pro, but like Pro is also run by MLS, so we have issues there because it's its own company, but also it's not all the way underneath MLS because it's just a mess. Like it shouldn't be this complicated to have referees, honestly.
I mean, the real question is, the MLS has a plan B if this deal doesn't go through to start the season? That's the real question. And that's why I'm afraid, because I don't want the season to be delayed because we have other games scheduled, CONCACAF, etc. And I mean, that's the real question. Does MLS has a plan B? If you don't listen to our pod, John just said it. Just recruit people from the Europe ref, and let's see, because we need to start the season like now. But that's the real question for the league. So moving on, great news for Orlando City. We have agreed to a new deal for our right back, sorry, not left back, right back, Mikey Holiday, in a new contract of 2 years through 2025 with options for 2026 and 2027. So that's awesome. I hope that Mikey gets a lot of minutes this season. I know that in the beginning he had more minutes, and then he got he got injured in the Sounders. Remember that game? He got injured in the Sounders game in Seattle, and then after that he didn't came back fully 100%. So I'm happy for this signing, because normally when we let this homegrown go to another team, they succeed. So I want him to succeed here in his hometown. So what do you guys think, John? What do you think about this new deal for Mikey?
I think it's great. I think, you nailed it. It's a shame last season. Like I tipped him to have a really big year last year, and I think he was showing signs of that at the beginning of the year, and then he got set back, but he showed at the end of the season again when he was coming back. There were some moments where he looked really good again. So I think it's awesome. The best thing about homegrown players is obviously I love a local lad, as we say in England, but the best thing about homegrown players in MLS is they don't count towards your cap. So essentially, right, we didn't buy Mikey, like obviously we pay his contract, like we actually pay him, but the money doesn't count towards the cap. So essentially he's like a free player inside the cap, which is great. And I'm excited to see, hopefully he's here for that whole time, and hopefully he's here for the rest of his career. He might become a club legend if he becomes a number one at that right back position. We'll have to see. Him and Dagger, I think, are going to fight it out to see who gets to stay there.
I feel like this is more depth. It's more competition for Dagger Dan and vice versa. I think now, we're going to see the true potential that we see and that we have seen in Mikey Holiday. I mean, he had a lingering injury, and I think now with being back in the team, not only we have a fantastic prospect, but somebody that can definitely make Dagerdan compete. Dagerdan, I feel like last season he was so important for Orlando to reach that far into the playoffs that we're going to see a beautiful competition between them two. That's going to make them both better, not only teammates, but better at each other, right? In their own positions. So I look forward to that, believe it or not. I think we have a fantastic depth position either for Mikey or for Dagger, that's going to just help us out tremendously, so I'm excited. I think it was, he's done great in the national team. It's someone that it's progressing, you know, before his injury, he was progressing very rapidly, right? To become a potential, good player and possibly, somebody that we can sell to a really good team in Europe and maybe make some good money right there by that transaction. So it was a win-win to keep Mikey, and I'm excited to see him develop even more this year.
Hopefully he will start the season like last year
Yeah.
and continue that performance, because he was a threat in the beginning of the season. He had connection with Kara, he had assistant, everything. So hopefully, Mikey, good luck this season. We want to see you succeed here in your hometown, and hopefully it works out. So, according to Tom Bogert, we have signed U.S. Youth International left back Tahir Reed Brown. I don't know if I pushed that, but I think I got it right. Correct
Yeah,
me if I'm wrong,
no,
guys.
you got it right. Tahir, that's the hard part. Reed
Tahir,
Brown.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tahir Reed. He's 17. He's highly rated a left back. He made 3 appearances for the United States Youth Under 17 World Cup and was named MLS Next All Star in 2023. So most likely the signing will be for OCB, not for the main team. Who knows, right? Like I could be wrong, but normally when it's a this kind of a homegrown deal, they debut more in the OCB. So let's see what this homegrown deal comes for us. Luis, what do you think about this?
Well, it's a great pickup. Again, this is really a win-win situation for Orlando City. I mean, it's a player that was well regarded in the MLS Next Pro realm, and he was an all-star in their MLS Next Cup All-Star game. 12 appearances and 4 starts for OCB. So he was also called up into the youth national team back in April. Great prospect. I mean, this kid's just 17, so he's gonna keep growing. I mean, he's a beast, and he's gonna be a potential, possibly senior level player, right? For the national team too. So, I mean, we're getting another great asset, I believe. That if we see rapid growth in him, why not put him in the first team? And had that, have that depth, rather than waste, maybe spending, in a, game
Big bucks.
ready left back. We could definitely, get this young prospect that we see that he's developing, game after game after game. So I'm excited for him coming over and wearing purple. I think it's just those are the type of moves Orlando makes, while other teams, sign 38-year-olds. That's what I'm about to say. There you go, John.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's known, like he's in the U17 national team. Obviously, he said he's known to be, a big hot entity for the future. So it makes total sense for us. Like he started playing back in 22 actually for the OCB team. So he would have been like 15, 16.
Yeah,
So yeah. I mean, if you're playing for OCB at 16 years old, like there's
that's a
guys who
good
are
sign.
the average age is like what, 20 there, like 19, 20 years old. You're like 4 years ahead some of the other guys. And he didn't look bad last year when I saw him. Like he had some, some moments where he looked defensively, perhaps a little naive, but like as an attacking left back, he's got a lot of talent, you can tell. So I expect him to play a lot of minutes for OCB this year.
Awesome. Thanks, John. So, for my favorite topic of the night, let's hear about some rumors, right? First rumor of the night, Divock to Orlando or another MLS club?
Well,
That's the rumor that is in Twitter. Go ahead, Luis.
well, before we go with Divock Origi, we have breaking news.
Dun dun dun.
Breaking news, guys.
Breaking
It's not
news.
breaking
We
news.
need a sound every time that you
Yeah,
have
that's
a breaking
right.
news.
Breaking news, guys. According to, and I just posted it on Twitter. According to my colleague Germán Garcia Grova, journalist from TYC Sports, which is the biggest news outlet in Argentina when it comes to soccer. Gaston Gonzalez and Gaston Gonzalez, his entourage, and Orlando City have reached an agreement with Nacional of Uruguay to be loaned until the end of the season. So Gaston Gonzalez, according to TYC Sports, Gaston Gonzalez is going to be leaving Orlando City, clearing up a spot, going to Nacional of Uruguay for a whole entire year till the end of the season. They haven't released the conditions of the contract of if there's an option to buy or nothing like that. But if TYC is putting it out, it's because they have gotten a golden nugget, possibly from maybe the club or maybe the player's entourage or maybe the player itself. So Gaston Gonzalez is, according to TYC Sports, ready to go to Uruguay to reunite with former teammate Mauricio Pereira. Those are the breaking news. There you go, guys. Sorry.
Thanks, Luis.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts of this is a bittersweet kind of situation because we had high expectations for Gaston Gonzalez when we acquired him, but I think his injuries along the stay here, we couldn't see his 100% potential for the game. Like the little things that we saw last season before he got injured twice, they were good things. And according to sources that have seen him play for a long time, he wasn't 100% playing. He didn't got into his 100% playing for Orlando City. So, I mean, if in Nacional they're going to have him play a lot of minutes, go for it. It's a loan. We don't know if it's gonna be a potential sell like Lucas Petrazo. So I mean, I wish him the best of the luck, right? If it makes sense for him and his development, I am happy for him. So it's a bittersweet. It's like I wanted to see him like 100% perform on the pitch, but if he's not doing it right now, we might clear that spot for a new player. What about you, Jan?
Well, he was on a 3-year deal, right? I believe.
I think so.
Gaston. So this was his last
Until
year on the
2026, I think, because we move a year up because of his injury.
deal. Really? So you think he's still through 2026?
I think so. Let me check.
Okay. I'd just be interested because if it's obviously a loan and he's through 224, then this is his last year with us anyway. So
Orlando
that would be the
City.
last.
So Orlando City signed him to a MLS U22 initiative contract on May 5th.
Yeah.
On a deal through the 2024 season with club options for 2025, 26, and 27.
Okay. So we have club options. That's the key there. So
yeah.
I mean, I think Gaston I feel bad because obviously, like you said, he had a lot of upside, but the first year, like he didn't play at all. The second year, he played, but like last year, not much. And when he did, honestly, he didn't make enough of an impact. And I still kind of feel like he the player that we supposedly we were signing, I've never seen that player. And I don't think that's necessarily on him. I think he just was a massive setback, and it's hard to get back in the team. And we brought other guys in. Angulo did so well, et cetera, et cetera. Just meant that he hasn't had the chances. So the thing that really interests me about this is, if this is true, I've been talking about if we wanted to have what we call like a full DP, so a DP that's not right now. We can have a young DP or a restricted DP with the way our roster is built, but if we want a full DP, we need to only have one U22 player. Right now, we have three U22 players. We have Cesar, we have Gaston, and we have Enrique. If we loan out Gaston, I think, and I don't quote me 100% on this because it's some crazy MLS rules I'm getting into here. I believe if you loan them, then they're off the roster for this year in terms of their you're not kind of down as a U22 player. So therefore, we would then need to buy down Enrique or Cesar's contract. So one of them is no longer a U22 player. If that's all possible, we would then have just one U22 player, which then means we could go out and find another DP and have three full DP contracts, because that's the way it works. So you could have Ojeda on a full DP, you could have Torres on a full DP, one of the other U22s, and then go out and find a full another UDP. I don't know. This is like pie in the sky. Maybe this is what they're planning. But I was talking before about like the player to get rid of if you're going to have to free up those spots. Sadly, would be Gaston of those three. I don't think anyone's arguing that point. So maybe this signals the start of a really big move by us. Maybe it's just that Gaston wants to play, like he needs to play, honestly, like he needs to play real minutes, and he knows that he's not going to get that here. So maybe he's shown a desire to go elsewhere so he can get play time. It's hard to say why this has happened, but sounds like, Luis, you're pretty sure on this source and this contact here.
Yeah, I mean,
TYC. So we got to move this from our rumors back to the news section, because we're pretty sure this is news now.
Yeah, so this is probably going to be news. Obviously, the club has not announced it yet, but it's kind of like what happened with Mauricio Pereira, right? Very similar. We put it out, that he was going to be leaving, and then eventually 3 weeks after that, 2 weeks later, the club decided to put it out. But it was, I feel like the source is very
strong,
very credible, and I mean, TYC wouldn't put it out for no reason. It's already been announced in Uruguay as well. So people are going crazy, especially Nacional fans, saying that they have a little bit of Orlando City in them now, right, to push them through the season. So, good for Gaston, because look, I agree with John and Paula. There was one person, and I'm going to say this bluntly, that took it away for Gaston Gonzalez, and the reason why we didn't see his true potential. And his name is Ivan Angulo. Ivan Angulo came as a we'll see type of player. We'll see what happens type of player. And then he became the starter.
Well, he came because Gaston was out too, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Literally to replace him.
Right, but he outperformed him completely. And when Gaston came back, he kept improving his playability. So we saw more potential, and the starter became Ivan Angulo, not Gaston, which was a DP. And I guess the front office already realized that. And so they said, okay, so you want more playing time? We can loan you out. And so they called Mauricio. Probably Mauricio said, oh, I know this kid. Yeah, this kid's great. Get him over. Done deal. So it is what it is. It's part of the sport. One day you're here, one day you're not. He's been doing great in preseason, from my understanding. I'm meshing very well with his new teammates, but it is what it is, guys.
Part of the business. Part of the business. And like John said, if we're loaning him out, we are cooking something. We're like silently, hopefully,
go back to Divock talks.
Hopefully, we are cooking something, and that brings me back to Divock, to Orlando.
This is like we just turned the burner on, right? The pan's not there yet, but that we've started the cooking process.
Exactly. So there's heavy MLS interest for this Belgian striker, Divock Origi. He's currently in loan for Nottingham Forest, and he plays in AC Milan. So there's 4 MLS teams that are interested in him: LAFC, FC Cincinnati, FC Dallas, and us. So, what do you think about this rumor? Do you think there's a potential to see this Belgium striker to compete with Duncan Maguire and Enrique up front? And what do you think, John?
I mean, I think he hasn't scored a lot of goals in a long time. That's what I think. So I think if you're gonna put all your eggs in a full striker basket, well, okay. First of all, we can't afford him right now. Like we have to go through all the things I just said to be able to afford Divock. Like it's well known that he wants a high amount of wages. Like we can't afford him as not a DP. He would be a DP. So maybe we're moving things around to make that happen. But also, if we're gonna do that, I would rather get a guy who is more recently scoring a lot of goals. Like honestly, since he went to AC Milan, like he's not been scoring goals. Nottingham Forest hasn't been scoring goals. I'm not saying he can't do it in MLS. I just think it's a risky maneuver. You're kind of putting your hope in reigniting a guy's career. And for me, he's not the one personally, but I think it's more likely that we just got thrown in there on this rumor, and he is rumored to come on MLS. That's like there is interest from other clubs that need a number 9, that looking for that, DP striker. I think we just got lumped in on this rumor. Honestly, that's what I think happened.
Look, I will disagree a little bit with John in a way that the age is perfect. The height, the type of player that he was. He's a Belgium national team player. Has not lost his spot there. So now, Orlando is a type of club that has Oscar Pereira and his staff on there. That's one huge thing. And Orlando has reignited careers. Let's start with
that is true. That's fair.
Let's start with John Batista, right? That's the first one. Then you have a Kaká that was aging, became our first DP. That's another example. But when it comes to the Pareja era, you're looking at Nani. You're looking at Dagger Dan. You're looking at Pedro Galese. You're looking, so the percentage of success players that they've been able to turn it around for Orlando has been tremendous. Players that have a lot left in the tank. I feel like Divock Origi has a lot left in the tank, but they just had a bad slump of scoring 0 goals. So I feel like in Oscar's system with the staff that he has, I have full faith that they're able to turn it around. Now, we're not signing a player like Suarez, for example, that's like in the end of his career. We're still getting a player that at least has 5 to 6 more seasons on him. So, I mean, why not? I mean, he's not the name recognizable player, obviously. I mean, at least for me it is, and maybe for John too, but at least for me, but for the casual fan that comes in that, only knows a few teams, they don't know who Divock Origi is. All right. So, but obviously he's wants to make an impact in the MLS. I have full faith in what Oscar can see in him. He's definitely, if he's hot, he's hot. He's like a Kyle Aaron type striker. That's the way I see it. I don't know if Paula agrees with me or John agrees with me, but
I mean, I 100% agree with you, and I said it before in this pod. Like, Oscar Pareja is known for revive players that they were not performing, and we talked
Pato
about
too, by
Nani,
the way.
Pato, exactly. Urso too. Urso where he was not performing in
Ivan
his former
Angulo
club.
benched all over
Ivan
Brazil.
Angulo. Yep. Antonio Carlos too.
Yeah.
So in Papi we trust. Let's say that. In Profe we trust.
I mean, like, if we can put him sharp, if we can make Divock Origi score like he used to back a few seasons ago, I mean, that'd be
Bye bye.
fantastic. I mean, he
We'll
could
be in the
be,
finals.
yeah, he could be a monster. I mean, that's the thing, you know? That's the gamble you take. Now, it's also we're not gonna have to throw the whole house out for Divock Origi. You know, that's not what I'm trying to say. Give everything away for Divock. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, if the deal is good and he's coming here and Oscar's the boss and Oscar's gonna push him and he's gonna be a positive influence in the locker room, bring him over. That's just my opinion. I mean, 28 years old, still a lot of juice left in the tank. And also, it probably won't take in the beginning the stardom of Duncan Maguire.
I mean, if it makes sense, like you said, Luis, let's take him, but not empty the
Yeah,
roster
our pocket. That's
just
right. We're
for
not gonna
just
pay
for him.
14 million for him. You know what I mean? Like, let's pay
Exactly.
maybe like 2.5. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't pay more than that, in my opinion. He's worth 5 million euros. Maybe we're gonna offer 3.5. You know?
It's too much, I think, for 3.5.
I
But
mean, I feel like how the mighty has fallen with Divock. Like the guy is just plummeted.
Yeah.
He's gone from the heady heights of like winning Champions League with Liverpool to being worth 5 million, and playing for Nottingham Forest and not being able to score a goal.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you guys. You're right. If anyone could revive this man's career, it's Oscar. So if
it's
we do bring
Oscar.
him in, that's the thing. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm skeptical.
Me neither. Me neither. But anyways, next rumor is, do we really see Duncan Maguire? And we talked about that last week. Leaving Orlando City and supposedly to
Oh, let me find the
stroke.
post.
Not the stroke, the Stoke. Come
Oh,
on,
sorry,
Paula.
Stoke.
Strokes.
Don't
It was giving
mispronounce
me a
my
stroke.
team
That's
name.
why.
Come on. It would
That's
give
your
you a
team.
stroke?
Sorry, John.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I asked my fellow Stokies, that's what we call ourselves, by the way,
Oh, Stokies.
about the Stokies, and there's no one that heard anything about this. In fact, all it did was have a bunch of people ask me questions about Duncan Maguire, and they think like the rumor mill could just generate itself. You know what I mean? It just one person says something, and then three other people think that that's gonna happen, or they just take it as word. So this was in the same tweet out from the one with Divock, and I don't think there's anything to this. I
I
think
don't think
Duncan is
it's a
just
legit
he's
source.
not signed a new contract. Like we know he's keen to I think we're gonna try and lock him down to a better deal. I don't think, like, from a Stoke side, I don't think we need a striker like Duncan right now. So it doesn't make sense that we would spend a lot of our budget on him. So yeah, I don't think there's much to that one.
Yeah, I agree with John wholeheartedly. It's all smoke. I mean, this kid, whoever owns that page, like he praised. He started saying, "Oh, bigger markets are moving. There's big moves in big markets. This is great for the league." I'm like, dude, Nashville, you could call it smaller market, has clobbered LA Galaxy. We have clobbered all these other big market teams like the Red Bulls. Come on, like, I wouldn't take what an outlet like that would say to that it's like real news. Duncan is going to be staying in Orlando City. I know for a fact his family's super happy that he's here. I mean, he's just delighted with all the opportunities he's been getting while wearing purple. The whole staff supportive of him. He's Oscar's guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things. Why would he throw all of that away to go to I can't even pronounce it, RWD Molenbeek, in some little teeny town in Holland? Like, it's just not gonna make it doesn't make any sense to me. And I feel like it's gonna actually, him moving out is gonna hinder his goals to get into the U.S. men's national team, which is what he wants to do. He wants to play, maybe be in the squad for a Copa America, maybe be in the squad for the World Cup. Why
I
would you
mean, he
go
could be in this Olympic squad
on the Olympics?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, he just played last Saturday. So
exactly, against Slovenia, right? One thing I'm going to say is I know that Duncan is going for the Super Saiyan, the golden look. Come on, bro.
his
Really?
final form.
Yeah, that's
Charizard
right.
Duncan.
Yeah, so
Evil.
yeah, I think he's definitely gonna be staying, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. It doesn't make sense for him to leave, but it's at the end of the day, it's his decision, but it's not gonna be a smart move. Our next rumor, really quickly, and for me, doesn't make this sense at all, but let's talk about it. Ojeda to Boca Juniors? All of the
No,
sudden? Come on. Like,
no, that's
what
another
this
rumor
mean?
that's happening. Yeah.
Go ahead, Luis, if you wanna.
So this is where the source came on. So this is an outlet, right, from Boca Juniors. It says, they've reached acercado, means they've closed in to the name Martin Ojeda. It's a name that we have much interest of. So it's just saying much interest. It's like I'm interested in eating a sundae. Like I have a have an interest of eating a sundae. Right? It doesn't mean that I'm just gonna go and eat a sundae right now, right? So showing interest. It says they consulted to Orlando City. How would the negotiation be and how much? And they're waiting for a response. Right? So pretty much they're saying that they rang Orlando City saying, hey man, is there a way we can maybe deal for Ojeda? How much and what and why so much? You know what I mean? How much is it gonna hurt me, right? So I will leave it just as that. Now you have to understand, and this is what I know, is that those outlets are really not so reliable when it comes to the signings, and this is just like in everywhere else in the world. This is rumor season over there too, and we're going to see a lot of this happening for a lot of the players. Now, Ojeda and Gaston Gonzalez and a lot of the Argentinians, especially Ojeda, they're breadwinners of their family. Why would you leave? And I understand it's Boca Juniors, but why would you leave the comfort of Orlando City, being able to maybe have a starting spot this season, and go to Boca to get paid in Argentinian pesos? It just doesn't make sense to me. On the monetary side, for the player, uh, I feel like he may want to just write his contract out and then see options after his contract's up. But at the moment, he has a huge chance to be a vital part of the puzzle for Orlando City. So to me, it just feels like this is just much of a rumor of an interest
Smoke.
from
Yeah.
from Boca, but it's not really a concrete. Like I haven't seen the big journalists that cover Boca Juniors talking about this rumor, for example. I've seen the fans talked about it. It's different. So I will take it with a grain of salt. I wouldn't really believe much of what of it's been saying. Now, if Orlando's trying to maybe loan him out, like for example, Atlanta United did with Ezequiel Barco when they brought in Thiago Almada, you have to understand they're trading Barco, but they're bringing in Almada. So who we're going to bring aside of Ojeda?
I don't think this, and I agree with you, Luis. Like, he just got here. We paid a lot of money for him. He seems happy here in Orlando, not like other players that we have seen that in their body language, you can tell they're not happy in Orlando. So I will take it as a grain of salt too. Like, I don't believe this. I'm super happy to see Ojeda this season. I'm up for it. So I don't know if John agrees.
I think the thing is, if it is true, I like how are they gonna afford him? Like I look back at Boca
Right.
Juniors, honestly,
Right.
like they might have called, but we're gonna be like, yeah, it's like 7 million. Like, and they're gonna be like, yeah, no, we can't do that. So if you look, like Luis says, the financial situation of
No.
Argentina, if this rumor had come out and it was like, a Spanish team that was rumored or something, or like
Right.
a
Understood.
team in Europe that could afford and even then, a lot of teams in Europe can't afford what we would want for him. So I think I think maybe because he was not reporting back yet for training, or like Luis says, sometimes it's just agents or it's just fans. We have to be careful about everything that's going on and looking at like where they're coming from. Like if you see multiple rumors and then you see it come from like a source that you're like, okay, I actually believe like this person because they're legit and they seem to be right most of the time, then we start to think about it. But sometimes some of these things are just put out there by fans and then retweeted by fans or, reposted by fans, and it just becomes its own thing. And I feel like the Ojeda one, it kind of screams of that to me because it just doesn't seem realistic that they would be able to bring him, and like you said, Luis, why would he want to go back to Argentina anyway? So
And
no, I expect Ojeda to be here next year. He's going to be, hopefully get a new role and be a big part of our team.
and there's a worst one. I will add real quick. There's a worst rumor, like, and this is huge right now, going on in Peru, in Argentina, and I know that it's not been. I didn't post it because I didn't trust the source, but this is it. So it's saying that Estudiantes de La Plata, which is a team in Argentina. It's like a mid-tier team, probably like they're always like playing sixth or seventh spot in the Argentinian league. Okay, they are they're opening talks with two keepers, Alvaro Montero from Millonarios from Colombia, which is the guy on the left, and Pedro Galese. He says that they wanted first the Chilean keeper Brian Cortez, but that fell through. So they're opening talks with the entourage of Montero and Pedro Galese, so the agents. And the first option, listen, this is the crazy part. The first option, guys, is the Colombian keeper, Millonarios. And if that doesn't work, then they're gonna look to close into the Orlando City keeper Pedro Galese. So, look, this is BS. I'm gonna say this, complete BS. First and foremost, Estudiantes is one of the most. They have so much debt. Like, I could loan them right now $10. They'll probably be all right, cool. You know what I mean? They are up to this with debt. They're not gonna be able to afford Pedro Galese because Orlando's gonna be like, okay, how much you want for Pedro? Okay, he's the second best paid goalkeeper in the league. Why would you do that? Right? Doesn't make any sense. And not only that, the way that they downplay Pedro in a subtle way, saying, if this Colombian guy falls through, then yeah, I'll go for Galese. Or like the MLS is beneath
Nothing.
me. And this is coming from a
mid-tier,
like it's like Houston, it's like Real Salt Lake coming up to us saying, like, you got, you know what I mean? So it's just, there's levels, man. You know what I mean? And to me in Peru, they're going crazy. They're like, oh my God, yes, Galese, leave the MLS, please leave. Because people over there in South America, unfortunately, have the league has like a reputation that all the dinosaurs go to die there. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, this is what the 90s brought into South America, the image. And so they're saying, no, there's no relegation there. Like, you can have a lot of potential, blah, blah, blah. So people are excited over there that, in Argentina, that Galese may be coming, but he ain't coming. So I do want to say that this is smoke. I know if you guys want to talk about it. I know John has anything to say regarding this stuff.
I don't want to entertain that news, and it's bad news for y'all, Argentina. He's not going anywhere. So
Oh, he ain't going
sorry.
anywhere.
Sorry, not sorry.
I didn't even put it in the agenda, Luis. That's how little
Exactly.
I was like, boo on you and your stupid Pedro rumors.
Yeah.
He's happy here. He's not going anywhere.
He ain't gonna go.
He's not going anywhere. He's happy here. He just went to the media day representing Orlando
Exactly.
City.
There you
No.
go.
Also, one last thing. I think if we were entertaining wanting to move any of these players on, we would have done that like when we did Mauricio and Antonio, right? Like if they're envisioning,
Yeah.
so we're not trying to sell. So unless someone comes in for one of our players and offers like insane money that we can't say no to, or we don't want to say no to, then that's a scenario. Any of these like lowball, stupid offers, we're not going to take that.
100% with you, John. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, guys, thank you for listening to LPO tonight. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube. channel. Follow us on social media, LPO on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, our LPO Facebook group. Don't forget to follow us on in that uh, LPO TikTok. We have a TikTok as well. Follow me for Spanish content. Maybe we're gonna release our first episode this week. Tiro de Esquina on YouTube. You can follow us in Twitter and Instagram. And John, Luis, any last remarks before we leave for tonight?
No, tomorrow we have the Pride Pod. So right at 7:30. Right, 7:30 the Pride Pod here at
Yeah,
this
I think
channel.
so. And then Saturday, if you haven't got your ticket, then it's going to be expensive. I'll tell you that, because I looked to see how much another ticket was. It was like $90 for the cheapest ticket. So
Oh lordy.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see some preseason, though. It's going to be awesome.
it's gonna be great. We're excited about that.
Well, thank you for listening. See you all on the game on Saturday. And vamos Orlando.
Vamos
Vamos,
Orlando.
Orlando.
Have a good one.